export the scenarios, mappings, everything, right? And let's see today how our load plans work. On top of that, I will go and create variables, right? And post variables, we can look at reusable mappings, how we can use the mapping. It's likely simply the maplet, how it works in Informatica.
And
Likewise,
and where we will cover the package?
sorry?
When we will cover the package?
This will come the next part. So
Okay,
it's like
okay,
an advanced version.
okay,
So we are at the end of that. So
okay.
we're just okay. So once you expand your project folder, you can see the option as variables. Also, we do have the option as global objects. Here we can create global variables or project level variables like sequences. Whatever you want, you can create and you can utilize wherever you want. Simply, okay. So here we can create the variables by right clicking on the variable, create a new variable. Variables are the data types are four types. So alphanumeric, the text one, numeric, and date values. However you want, you can create, you can define the data type. And we have three options in the keep history. We do have latest values, we do have all values, we do have no history. So if you would like to maintain all the variables what it is trying to process so far, you can click on all values. Otherwise, if you want only the latest value, just latest value should work. If you don't want to maintain any history, just click on no history. Accordingly, whatever you want, just take it out. I'm just creating a variable.
So now one question, are these
Yes,
variables like constantly changing or these are constant? Like
we
how?
can change them during
Okay,
runtime.
okay,
Whatever you want, you can change it.
okay.
See the refreshing tab. In the refreshing tab, you can write your select query here. You can write your select query here, right? See here the option, editor option. If it is you're trying to get the variable from table, you can write your own select query here. Otherwise, if you would like to place a default value, okay, in the definition tab, you can find out the default value here. Okay. Now, so where this select query is trying to execute, we just set the respective logical schema where we are trying to execute. Okay, so just trying to select your logical schema here and trying to execute your own select query. So let's take, I'm trying to take select max of department number from score.emp. So this is trying to execute during the runtime and it will fetch the value. Okay, and okay, let's do this one. I'll tell you later. Okay, so once this is completed, you just validate your query. We do have validation here, and just try to refresh it here. When you're trying to refresh here, it will execute in the respective logical schema. Just see it. The session is started. It's like the operator is trying to execute it. We employee variable. If you go to, if you go to the history tab here, when you're trying to refresh it here, see the value and the date it is trying to fetch. The context is global, right? So how we can utilize the variable during runtime, how we can refresh the value. See, the department number today is 40, but tomorrow is different. The date value today is same, but tomorrow is different. How we can refresh the value during runtime? So when you are trying to working in a packages, when you drag and drop your variable to the package, there we have option refresh variable. When we select the refresh variable, every time when the variable is trying to run, this is the option it is trying to execute. What this will do, This is trying to refreshing the RAM. When you execute this, it is trying to get the max value from the respective table, and it will pass the value during runtime. So every time you should get this value in packets. Now let's see how we can utilize this one in mapping. Just create a mapping and trying to give mapping variable EMP. So just drag and drop your source and target tables respectively. Right. So just add a filter. We can add it here and just try to connect over here by name and just go to the filter. When you click on the filter, it is trying to get you the filter conditions. Right, and just expand it. I'm trying to take department number equal to, see, like sequences, you are able to see the project sequences, project global sequences, right? If you create a global sequence, you can look at it here. Likewise, if you'd like to create a project variables, you can look at the option over here. So we have created the employee variable. We just pass the value here.
And what is this max value?
This
We never created max value.
It's another variable from other project folder.
Okay.
Okay. Right. So if you create n number of variables, it will show it here, everything. Okay, don't worry. So I just pass my variable here. See here, the ODA batch 7 AM, which is the project folder name, then the variable name. Just click on apply. Okay. Just check everything is mapped to the column level. Right. So just save it over here and try to execute it. Just go and check in your operator. Right. I think, did we miss something? The physical schema, we forgot to truncate the table. Let's do it here. That looks good. True. Right. Just try to save it, and I'm trying to execute again. So just go and check your target table. See, I'm able to get the values by department number equal to 40. So likewise, you can create your variables with this, whatever you want here. Okay.
Okay, and for example, let's say, I mean, yeah, I understand the constant thing. I understand the SQL query, right? So this variable we can get only value from the SQL query if we want a dynamic variable, nothing else, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Okay. So let's go back and look into the reusable mappings. So likewise, I said, so in Informatica, we do have an option maplet. So what maplet do exactly? So maplet is, we are trying to create one business logic inside the maplet, and we are trying to utilizing that anywhere, right? So the same way the reusable mappings are occur. So in the reusable mappings, we are trying to create it is to have one input and one output. So input, we are trying to get the values, or if you are trying to give any source, inside, you are trying to give any table, any data store, we can give it over here. Or if you'd like to create your own attributes, you can create that, and during runtime you can pass those values. Whatever you want, okay, we just create over there. It is to have one input and one output. and we can create all your business logic here. And it's likely we can plug and play anywhere. Okay, so let's see how this will work. So I'm just trying to create a new reusable mapping. Okay, so if you select these two options, it is trying to create a default one, else we will create that. Okay, so just drag and drop your whatever you want. Okay, so otherwise if you'd like to create a new attributes, it doesn't allow you to create. So to create our own attributes, we have to check those options, input on the output while we're creating a mapping. They are trying to present an empty data store here, and we can create those attributes. Else, if you need anything other than that, okay, just try to get those values. And trying to apply the filter here. Let's see, I'm trying to apply the filter and just connect it over here. Okay, so just get the filter values here. So whatever you want here, you can apply the filter. Okay, I'm trying to get salaries greater than 2,500. Apply and okay. It's simple one like mapping. We just create the logic over here. Okay, and this is the one. How let's see how this works in mapping. How we can utilize this one mapping. Okay, so once the reusable mapping is ready, okay, we are trying to create a new mapping where we can drag and drop it over here. So once it is ready, and you just go and try to get your reusable mapping. On top of that, just try to get your source data store. Okay, and get your reusable mapping. Did we save that? Yeah. Just try to validate it. See, this must have a output. Let's see expression. Right, that is successfully validated. So we can utilize the expression now. Okay, so let's see how that works. Okay, just try drag and drop your reusable mapping. We saved it, right? This has to show all the inputs and output connectors. What happened? No, it's not allowing. Okay, let's try to get your target also over here. And let me connect over here. Just validate it and see if we can get now or not. It's not getting a value. I'm trying to create with the default. Here's my input. Here's my output. Let's see. Okay, and try to get your component. So we can use filter. Okay, otherwise you can drag and drop it over here. Okay, so I'm trying to give greater than 2500, and you get go and select the filter to over here. Let's save it. Let's see if we can get that. So yeah, we'll get that. Okay, so this is the one what I have the logic. I'm trying to connect this one to the input one, so with the respective one, and this one I'm trying to connect the output. I'm trying to connect to the target. This is the one. Okay, so I haven't defined any logic inside the mapping. I just defined inside the reusable one, reusable mapping. So I'm trying to utilizing that. When you call that, it is trying to show that what are the inputs you're trying to give and what are the outputs you're trying to get. That's all we have. And just go to the physical over here. It is trying to showcase you the options here. Nothing should be selected over here. I'm just trying to showcase you that. So just select your LKM. See here, it is trying to showcase the mapping reusable one. That's fine. And go to the employee target. Just select your IKM and select truncate table to the true option. Okay. And see here, these are the one trying to connect to the respective reusable mapping. See, it is trying to get the value source attribute reusable mapping. Okay, I'm trying to save it over here and just execute it. Right. So just go and look at your output. So we define where salary greater than 2500. Right. So I'm able to get the values who has greater than 2500. That's all. So you can reuse this one wherever you want, the reusable one, in a number of mappings. Do you have any doubts, Nitin?
No, actually, I'm good. I get this.
Okay, thank you. Okay, let's see how our load plans works. Okay, see, I'm trying to close everything now. So you can see the options, the projects here, the models here, then we have dimensions and cubes, which is a new one in policy for reporting purposes guys are utilizing. I'm not sure exactly. And then we do have load plans and scenarios. Right? So when you expand this one, just try to showcase you a many number of load plans. Whenever you are trying to run whenever you are trying to run your mapping, a scenario, okay, it is trying to create one new load plan to the each and every one. See here, when there is a scenario is there, it is trying to create a new load plan. Okay, we don't bother about that. That will take care by ODA internally, right? So as
And
you said,
these are the scenarios, right? Not load
yes,
plans.
yes, scenarios.
Okay.
So as you said earlier, let's see, we do have multiple conditions. Let's say we have mapping 1, mapping 2, and mapping 3. Okay, if you like to execute this tree in series, or if you'd like to execute this tree in parallel. Okay, if you'd like to execute this tree in parallel, so we can achieve using load plans, right? Otherwise, if you'd like to execute in a case wise, so mapping 1 is completed, this is loaded a value or something into the target database. According to the value, you need to execute mapping 2 or mapping 3. So if you want to, the mapping 1 is completed. This is the parameter value you are trying to place in your table. Then your mapping 2 will be ready. So based on the input of the mapping 1, you need to run the mapping 2 or mapping 3. Okay, we can utilize the case conditions here. Case, when, and else step. When the value is matched, then it is trying to execute the mapping 2. Else it is trying to, else part is mapping 3. If you don't give else, that should be fine. Okay, so how we can achieve, the case is trying to utilize the variables. So what variables will do? It is trying to get the value, and the value it is storing ODA, right? The particular value, whatever the value you are trying to fetch from the table. So we can utilize that value. If the values are within our bound, then we are trying to execute the next one. If not, we are trying to skip this particular one and we can execute the next one. All right. So let's see now. So let's create 1 second. So we do have multiple options here. So if you like to create a new load plan and scenario folder, so just create a folder now. It's like a folder name. Okay, just create a folder here. It will create a folder. So under this folder, you can create a number of load plans. Okay, right. Just right click over here and create a new load plan. If you like to create a new subfolder, you can create that. Otherwise, you can create a new load plan. When you click on over here, it is trying to ask you some name. Just give a name. Group of executions. Okay, so you can create a log and log sessions wherever you want, always, never, or if you like to create only errors, we can select accordingly. So log session steps. So but it will create by according to a scenario, or if you don't want to create any step or errors, it will, if you want to create only errors, you can select according to your level. So the steps one in the steps tab, so we are trying to utilize it over here. See, it is trying to usually have a root step. So here we are trying to create the steps over here. So when you click on the plus symbol here, it is trying to ask to add step wizard. Or you can right click it, the serial, parallel, run scenario, case step. The serial is the one which you are trying to run all your mapping in series. Parallel, we can run in parallel. Run scenario step is trying to execute your scenario. The case step is simply case when else conditions. Select a case condition based on the variable. Right. So if you'd like to add a step wizard, you can click over here. It will give you serial, parallel, run scenario, and case. Else, you can create from here only. Serial step, parallel step, run scenario, and case step. So wherever is fine. If you just click on serial here, it will give you serial here. Or else if you are trying to add step here, okay, then it is trying to give it over here, the step name. See, it has created a subtask over here. If you'd like to remove that, just remove it here. Okay, so Now I'm trying to execute a serial step or parallel step, whatever you want, step by step. Let's create a serial step. Just right click over here and add step. So the run scenario option is the one which gives you trying to select the scenario. Okay, so here is a option we have, lookup scenario. Just browse it in the respective folder, select your particular scenario. Okay, see the scenarios, the mappings, interfaces, the package. I think interface is the one which belongs to 11G, the variables, the procedures, whatever.
But what you said yesterday, Nag, that in load plans, only scenarios basically we can execute in load plan or
Yes,
package, I guess. Then why there are option of interfaces or mapping here?
I think this is a newly added one. I haven't seen that. Maybe 11G we don't have option. I think so. We must
Can
create.
we select mapping and verify that if we are able to execute it?
Sure, why not? We do have multiple mappings over here. Okay, just select the mapping whatever you want.
Yeah.
Let's see. See, it is trying to create a version now. Okay, that I believe in 11G does not have the option here. See here, it's generating a
I
scenario.
think
When you click on it,
I think it is trying to generate the scenario and only
yes,
scenario. Okay, maybe it is the case if you have not generated a scenario, you can select mapping, it will automatically generate scenario and then execute the scenario.
true. I don't see the option in policy. I'm sorry, I don't see this type one in 11G. That's why
Mhm.
I was clear about that. Okay,
Okay.
just select your scenario and click on finish. This one coming to under serial. If you'd like to create one more here, just right click, add step, select your run scenario. So add a child step. Okay. So and click on next. I think you are aware of these options. Add a sibling step after selection or before selection. So simply
No,
saying that
actually,
you
I'm not
you
aware.
are,
Let's
yeah,
take a
this is
look.
the one. Yeah, okay, no problem.
Yeah, add a
So here's the
child.
one which is highlighted on your back end, right?
Yeah.
Here's the one. Okay. If you select this one, it will try to create one step after this, or if you select the sibling before this.
Add a sibling step after selection.
Yeah, this is the one
Okay.
selection.
Okay.
See, I'm trying to give after selection. Just get your one here and click on OK. Finish. See here.
So basically what
This
it
is
is
the one
trying to
which
do
I,
is
yeah,
how it will execute first under serial, it will execute this and then it will execute the next one or what?
yes, in serial. First it will execute this one, then it will execute this one.
Okay.
So like this, you can add one more step like parallel after root step. Create a parallel step. See, a parallel step is created under root.
Mm-hmm. So it means you mean to say when you are created under root, both serial and parallel will start the execution at the same time?
I don't think so. That shouldn't be right. That should be executing step by step only. That shouldn't
Executing is
execute step
no,
by step.
the problem is that you have like you yeah, I'm trying to understand, you have serial, then you have parallel. Under
Yes,
serial you have multiple steps, right? And they will
yes,
execute in serial. Yeah, under
yes,
parallel you can have multiple scenarios, they will execute in parallel. Now
yes.
what will execute first, that will be determined by the number of steps.
No, this determine the flow should be mandatory here. So
Okay.
what under the root step, you have serial first. That will execute serial. Then, if you have any other step, that will execute the next step.
Okay, so you mean to say first all the scenarios under senior serial will be completed, then only parallel will start.
Yes.
Okay.
Okay. Now I'm trying to create
Yeah.
something over here.
And also, like,
Mm-hmm.
basically we give the, if first mapping is successful, then only go to the next step. So how,
Yes.
where we can define that?
There we can do it over there itself
Okay.
in packages.
Oh,
There's
here
simple
we
option.
cannot do, here we cannot do.
No, these are the bunch of loading. That's all.
Okay.
It's likely, I think, your workload in workflow simply.
Okay.
Right. Just try to save it here. See, your first one is created. Just try to execute now. See, the serial step is here. Under this, we have this scenario. Under the root step, we have one more then execute direct step. Then we have parallel. This is not come under the serial. Look at here. This is not under come serial. This will come under the root step.
So under root step, serial will get executed. After that, the selected one get executed.
Yes. Yes.
Okay.
Let's see. You can look at this one over here. Shit. Okay. So I don't have the agent. This is a problem. Mm. Do you have agent in our I'm sorry, in OPC, Nitin?
I can check actually. So,
No, you cannot try to create that. The
okay.
agent need to be installed first. That should be installed and that will come here automatically. We need to run the agent first. Okay,
No,
no
how to
problem.
install it? How to install it actually? If you tell me, I can do the installation.
Uh, the ODA used to have that.
Like give the name and all those things, and it is now I'm able to select it. So if you say new agent
Yes.
and you give just ABC here, and you select your database source, well, I just select the source system, data server, and I was able to see it under it. I mean, I'm just trying to see what we need to install actually. You just give any name here and save it. Localhost if you want to give the server name, and then data
No,
source.
I don't think so. This should be like this. Let's try.
But have you chosen the data source for that agent?
Right. And just try to open it again.
Just test that agent. Test that agent.
We can't, right? We used to test it. It should be not like this. We need to install that first. Agent should be there with the installation process.
Cannot
It's
be
not
reached. So basically localhost. I guess you need to give the your server name. What is the server name you are using? Your machine name here in the localhost.
no. This is not like this
Okay.
process.
Okay.
Okay. I'm aware of the process where we work in real time.
Okay.
But
Yeah.
actually, those guys, yeah, the admin guys will usually take care of that.